This just in, President Abraham Lincoln has just given a speech in just over 3 minutes after former Secretary of State Edward Everett delivered a 2-hour-long speech at Gettysburg National Cemetery. Lincoln's speech was to remember the fallen Union troops that had only 4 months earlier defeated Confederate troops at the Battle of Gettysburg, which is widely recognized as the turning point of the Civil War. And he managed to deliver one of the best-known speeches in American history in only 10 sentences and 272 words. The poetic 407 years ago not only refers to the Revolutionary War, but highlights that within 87 years of being a proper nation, the population managed to fall into America's deadliest war that tore the nation apart for 4 years. During that time, approximately 620,000 soldiers died from combat, accident, starvation, and disease. This number comes from an 1889 study of the war performed by William F. Fox and Thomas Leonard Livermore, both who, during the war, fought for the Union. Although a more recent study places numbers as high as 850,000, which is almost equal to the number of American combatants killed in both World War I and II combined, which is approximately 870,000 soldiers. Numbers coming from Oxford University Press, 1999. On a different note, with the phrase, "Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure." He shows that the values that the nation was built on have been personally attacked, and that any other nation built on the same ideals might face the same issue, which is why the Union's victory was so important to the future of the nation. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives, that the nation might live. It is together all fitting and proper that we should do this. Lincoln in this portion effectively brings out the human nature of viewing things in contrast by making the statement, those who gave their lives, that this nation might live, and the contrast between life and death during the time. He also uses F sounds repeatedly with field, final, fitting, and fitting, which grabs the audience attention, much needed after good old Everett's speech. He ends the speech shortly after with one of the most well-known phrases in American history. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. That strong ending, in my opinion, is one of the strongest and most effective ways at the time to rally people to help bring along an end to a war that had stolen the lives of too many. And now we move on to our guests, Ott Mom and CMoney, to ask a few short questions. Ott Mom, have you ever visited the site of the speech? What is your favorite part of the speech? There you go.
My favorite part of the Gettysburg Address is actually the last long phrasing, primarily because it shows that Lincoln knew what he was saying was important, but did not totally recognize the importance of his statement or how the people would hang on those words for not just those moments, but for hundreds of years to follow. So it starts with the brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have fought here, thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. So when he says these words, he's saying it almost in passing, but at the same time, the strength in the words and the importance carried for more than a century and a half now, the importance of what all those men did and sacrificed.
Thank you. And CMoney, what does the speech mean to you?
The Gettysburg Address means to me that America, no matter if it's a civil war or a war against other countries, we have to come together in the end and work together to advance our government.
And now a word from our sponsors, the repeaters.
After each shot. So we introduced the Spencer carbine, which can fire 7 shots in 30 seconds. If you know what you're doing, anyways. Repeating rifles or weapons that can fire more than one bullet before needing a reload could save the war.